Why experts recommend this hack. After World War II ended, they put a bunch of Nazis on trial. And the most burning question they had was, why did you do all those horrendous things? And they all gave the same unexpected answers. I was just following orders. It's one thing to read history books about guys like Genghis Khan, who famously said his favorite part of battle was listening to the cries of his victims begging for mercy. Maybe that's true. Maybe that's a story to build up his image. So when he and his boys showed up, he just gave up. But when you have a real-life Nazi sitting right in front of you, you kind of expect a different answer than, I was just following orders. To check this, nobody believed that could possibly be the real answer. They did an experiment in the 50s. A famous experiment that you likely have heard of, the Milgram experiment. An authority figure, a teacher, and a learner. The teacher thought it was a memory test. The teacher was told to ask the learner questions. And if they got the questions wrong, they'd give the learner a shock. But the real test was to see how many people would actually give a stranger an electric shock, simply because the authority said so. The learner wasn't really getting shocked. He was in on the experiment. He would only pretend to get shocked. The real test was to see how many people would harm another human. A human who is literally begging them to stop, just because an authority said so. Since they didn't think very many people would do this, they figured maybe 2 to 3% would, the percentage of people that are actually psychopaths. But they were shocked at the result. Between 60% and 70% of people actually gave a shock that they thought was real to a guy pretending to be in real pain. From one perspective, this was absolutely horrifying. On the other hand, it explains why a huge part of history is human beings going berserk and doing horrible things to other humans. Of course, there are plenty of ways to leverage this information. Marketers saw this as a dream come true, that us silly humans will essentially turn off our brains and believe whatever authorities say. Like when actors say things like, buy this car, it's the best car ever. Even referencing authority figures work. 9 out of 10 doctors prefer brand X. If you are giving a speech, instead of just walking out and starting your speech, it's much better to be introduced by somebody who references a few of your authoritative accomplishments. But suppose you want to be an authority figure, so you can say things that others will obey. Not things like, hey, go give that guy an electric shock, but more friendlier things like, hey, you're pretty cute. Why don't we go back to my place so I can show you my new bedspread? Turns out it's actually pretty easy. To learn more, visit mindpersuasion.com/authority-amplifier.